Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Talk Trackmania episode 22. We are back as Tuesday. It is 8 p.m, at least for the European folk and the channel here today, or at least those in a very specific time zone. It's 7 p.m. here today. Podcast time, Let's Talk Trackmania time. We are back once again. It is a pleasure to be bringing you once again this week's events and this week's talking points, so to speak. But today, of course, I will remind you all this podcast is brought to you once again, 22 episodes. We are deep here, but it is brought to you, of course, by me, your host, TM Scotsman, and the lovely man to my left or right, LuckersTurbo, and also on the backside, the most important man of the pack, Erwin Webber, of course, bringing us this podcast via ESAC. And we'll remind you guys, of course, one of our talking points is actually going to be coming up today. CPS 22 Competition Premiership Season 22 is, of course, being hosted through ESAC. So I would advise you guys, check out the website for any and all upcoming tournaments that are going to be featured there. You can check out streams, results, and everything. However, also remind you guys, the competitive open map pool project is once again open for business, and map requests are open, which you can find on Mania Exchange. However, we are, of course, back as Tuesdays, Trackmania time, and today, I suppose the only question that's fit for me to start off with, this is one I've really been thinking all week about, to be honest. It's how's Turbo Day?
I thought like something very important is coming in, but
that is very important. Come on,
and then I thought, maybe you've forgotten me, but I think that's
forget you.
That will never happen. I mean, I will never forget you, and so won't you. So yeah, I'm doing good. I have a little of a mildly headache. Watched a little bit too much Vikings, I seem, because I really got hooked with this series. But yeah, else I'm doing good. University is a little bit stressy, but hey, you get nothing for free, so all good. How about you?
Exactly. If it was that easy, everyone would do it, I suppose. But I'm doing very well. We're in lockdown for the past week and a half now, or something like that. So I've seen a lot more of my bedroom than I initially wanted, which is a really strange thing to say, because I never thought I'd say that before in my life. But anyway, yeah, I'm doing fine, working away and surviving, I suppose is the best way to put it. Yeah, surviving. But on to our topics for today, of course. And our two main topics are going to be, which is just about to reach its climax, Competition Premiership Season 22 of its esteemed tech tournament. And also talking about various kind of community efforts, they're kind of standing in today's scene at the moment, and what kind of future we'll see for future community involvement in the game and what kind of impact it will have. But first and foremost, Competition Premiership Season 22. We spoke a little bit about it last time when we were talking about, Cups having quite a history and having a kind of defined place in Trackmania, so to speak. And CPS has been arguably the most kind of prestigious, team tech tournament recently, within the past at least few years, with the absence of some of the other kind of competition it had. For example, STC stopping around about 2016 or 17. TMM, of course, no longer about, and some other kind of organizations chopping and changing what it is they wished to do. But anyway, CPS 22, I understand, of course, you've been kind of having your mind and thoughts wrapped up by quite a few other events within the past few weeks or so, but have you managed to catch hold of any CPS matches or any results here and there at all?
I mean, unfortunately, I couldn't really play the second map pack or the third map pack, to say it like that, because we had, like, for the first 3 weeks, I think, or no, for the first 2 weeks or 3 weeks, something like that, we had one map pack that I really played on, but the last map pack I couldn't play. So unfortunately, I was not really able to like get an understanding of the maps. But I surely watched the matches, especially in League 1 and League 2. I was seeing a lot of those matches, and also followed the results from my team that I was playing in. So that was really cool to see. And in general, also, like, the maps were really nice just by looking at them. They were so cool and also cool to play. But I can only tell it for map pack 1 and 2. And I think it's a good tournament. But one negative side that I think is that so many tournaments were actually on Sunday evening, and it was really hard for me as someone who's casting and was already like agreeing to some casts to say, okay, yeah, I cannot play, even though I would really love to play, since it is a really nice competition. And also something like, yeah, not like TTC, which was every week, but now you seem to appreciate that we have something like Cup of the Day again. But I mean, it will be in like 2 or 3 months again. We will have a break of that, and I hope that it will come back, very fast. And of course, it is not over yet, but we are finished with the group stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, indeed, we're finished off with the group stage. We're finished off also with the up and down stage. For those who were not aware, the format essentially, you would have a group with 8 teams in it, if I remember correctly. And for each different group, it was essentially a division. So there was a Premier League, and then there was Global League 1 through to 6, I believe it was. Pardon me. And with the leagues themselves, the first place in the league would get automatically promoted. The second place in the league would play an up or downs match against the 7th place of the league above. And if you finished in 8th place, you were automatically demoted. So some teams going up and down automatically, some teams having to play for a spot in the next division. But I mean, just while we get things started off, what was the kind of final results for your team?
Yeah, 42-0. So we won every match. I mean, it was kind of a heartbreak for us because we could have gotten into, or think-wise was, okay, we were going to go into League 3 and just play their average, like for the bottom 4 positions, kind of. That was our goal, and I think that was really realistic. And in the first week, we had like okay opponents, but there we already won 6-0. But we were also a bit lucky by the looks of it, because I've only seen in the next weeks after that, I've only seen 6-0, 6-0, 6-0 scores. But on some of them, we were, of course, lucky, but we were the only team who didn't lose a match. If I recall it correctly, we would have played against Polaria, who was the team that is now has been demoted directly to Division 6. And I think they didn't attend, so we automatically won because we have only 6 victories in 7 matches played. But they didn't come. But it's still really cool to see that we can make something like that happen, and that we're now in League 4, and maybe there we can play a bit better. I mean, it went very good for us, but I mean, I think the difference between League 4 and League 5 is, it's tremendous. I mean, how did it go for you? Because when I see in the standings here, your score wasn't that good, despite you have really, really good tech players on your team.
Mm-hmm. Of course, I mean, you look at our lineup. I mean, we have multiple players in it that are Premier League level. I mean, Danek's been part of title challenging, a title winning team, and we don't need to talk too much about Danek's quality. Of course, we all know he is one of the best tech players in the world. Even myself, I'm a team competition winner. There's a great amount of players there who essentially are players who are playing out of their level at the moment. It would be players that you would typically see in Global League 1, 2, 3, not necessarily in Global League 4. But the project I've had with before Team I Care and now Team We All Care is essentially one I've just kind of had with the community I've built up, both from teams I've been in, and also people who have came in through my stream, for example, is just to go on and enjoy the matches. The way we'll approach it is we will train enough to ensure that we're not disrespecting our opponents. It's one thing I was very adamant of, is that I didn't want people just showing up, not knowing the way, and not even putting up any sort of a fight against our opponents, and our opponents feeling like, we're disrespecting them in any way by not caring about them or anything like that. We would show up to each match, having learned a little bit, so that we weren't at our full potential, but at a potential enough where we could at least mount some sort of challenge on the League 4. But while I'm here, of course, I don't know if any of them are watching, I will give a massive shout out to the League 4 opponents we did have. As I kind of had a little bit of concerns that some of the teams that we would be seeing would be a little bit, they'd see our lineup and they'd give up, which had happened in the previous season with Team I Care, albeit we had the likes of Razor, Nevermind, and Ager and sorts. But I mean, a lot of them put in a great amount of effort. They were very challenging. I mean, even I was having some trouble against some of these teams. Again, not saying that I'm some sort of god or anything like that, but I mean, they definitely caused us a great deal of trouble, and you saw that because I mean, as I said, players of our caliber were still bottom two of the of the league, which it sounds weird, but I was happy of. I mean, I was happy that other teams are performing very well in League 4, and I was happy that the League 5 team, which is now second place, now gets to go up to League 4 and showcase their talent. So, yep, I'm very happy, as much as it sounds really weird with how all of that kind of went. All of the team seemed to have a fantastic time, and that's what was most important for us.
I mean, it's cool that you bring up this point that your team actually, or that you are happy that your team has been demoted, because I think I actually feel the same, because in my division actually there were so many good players in there and so many good teams by driving, let's say, 1 to 1.5 seconds regu from WR, and those were definitely not easy times to beat. I think what we had compared to other teams is really the sort of team spirit. And I mean, I can just directly compare it with the other team competition I've played, the ULR in United, and it was non-existent there. We had a very good team in the third division. I mean, there are only 4 divisions in this league. Also, this tournament is very stacked, but we had a roster that could easily win against everyone. And we hardly trained or something like that. Or when we trained, or when I trained, I had the feeling that no one else. You have like a 3v3 format on each map, and then someone is saying or is not appearing, and you're like, okay, for what have I practiced? For what have I practiced this map for like 3 hours or 4 hours or something like that? What's the purpose for that? And that's why I felt very discouraged. But on the other hand, on Team Eden, where I played for, at least the first and second match, I could really feel that there was some sort of bond between the members, that we were all like pulling on one cable and just make the thing happening that we want to win and have fun. Also, that's the important part. If we would have, if we lost, this would have not been any issue or so. So all good with that. And I think that this is the most important factor, to have fun and also to like communicate with your teammates. And I think you were streaming the CPS once or twice, if I recall it correctly. And the first thing, I just looked in, but just for 1 or 2 minutes, but you guys were laughing. And that's why you're doing it, right? You're doing it for fun, and that's why you play the game, and you shouldn't take everything that serious, I think. But in the ULR thingy, it's like you have to be reliable that you are there and that you're playing. And that's what I missed out on. But the opposite was for CPS, fortunately.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, talking a little bit about our teams, it's something I felt has kind of rejuvenated an interest in a lot of the players that I've played with. I mean, some of these people haven't played team matches since 2015, 2016, some even a bit longer than that. I mean, I dragged some people out of the A&E retirement home, the likes of Playa, Bomba and such, who are, again, players from A&E that I played with in some of my very first tournaments, but it stopped well before this game even came out. But I feel that they have enjoyed their time playing competitive Trackmania again, even in its kind of diluted form, in the sense that we aren't training going into these matches. We'll go into the match, in a sense, we'll know the way, and we'll focus on having a good time. And we've, remembering my teammates having so many complaints about times gone past in tournaments, they weren't enjoying themselves, they weren't having fun, to see a complete U-turn while I was playing this tournament, and also having good fun with our opponents as well. I mean, we could have been that team that would have stomped everyone in our division. Like, we do have that quality of player, but we weren't there to punch down. We were there to have fun with our team, have fun with our opponents. we got along very well with all of our opponents. We had a great time. We had one sub match where we played the full sub match without using the break on both teams, which was very interesting. But yeah, I mean, that was just how we were going through this event. We was just having fun with our team and with our opponents. But I mean, enough kind of talking about our two teams, as I feel we're not really the kind of showpiece of this event. And one of the other teams which I would like to highlight, which I thought was kind of going to be taking the same approach a little bit going into this, but going on to our Premier League, our League One, going through the following teams. So the way the League One would work is that the playoffs would contain the top 6 teams. So 6 out of 8 teams would be going to the playoffs. So all you had to do was avoid the bottom 2. The bottom 2, well, the bottom 1 would be automatically demoted, and the second bottom, 7th place, would fight in an upper downs versus second place for League 2. Now, so Shift was automatically demoted. Zero White lost their up and downs match against DAC SP, I believe it was. And then qualifying for the playoffs, we have Numalops Tech in 6th, THE Blue in 5th, BeGenius ESC in 4th, No Limit Proxes 3rd, 4 Wheels in 2nd, and We Are Positive at top. Now, was there any kind of teams of those or any results at all from the group stage for the top league that you were surprised by or that you were picking out in any way?
I see what you did there, actually. I mean, it's the top 1 match, actually. We Are Positive against 4 Wheels. And this just, states for me that Peck is right now unbeatable on tech. I mean, he stomped Karyan 7-0 on tech on the 1v1. And this really surprised me because I thought that We Are Positive is not winning 6-0 because they have lost sub matches against other teams. But I mean, maybe their approaches also for this match was different because of all the social media that we had there, that they put in effort. But we have seen them having fun as well. But I mean, it didn't really surprise me. The only thing that surprised me is the gap between 6th and 7th, which is 24 when you see that. But I think there's still a huge gap between, let's say, the first and second team, and then also between second and third. And it will be no problem for those, like top tier tech players, world champions in there. There's every world champion in there. Besides Haki Jr., I think you said that's something. So I don't see them actually losing. So it will be boring to see who's getting first, but interesting to see who's getting in the final with them. I think that's like my theory of that, but a surprise really. No. I mean, just surprisingly for me is that M&M didn't make it into Division 1 at first place because they dominated League 2 that much. Yeah, do you have anything that you want to stress out from League 1 or League 2 or maybe any other league?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, I think it's always been a bit of a weird question coming back because the last amount of team tournaments, first of all, there's a few kind of main lineups that have been missing through the past few years. That have been partaking in the last few years. First of all, there's the kind of AAA E-Corp Ubi team lineup, which was the likes of Omnipots, Kronos, these sorts of players like Yo-Yo and so on, which are not participating in this tournament, nor are any of the members participating in the actual event, apart from Aswer, who participated with Zero White. So it seems a lot of those kind of players have kind of faded out of interest, at least of this event. Hopefully, we'll see at least some of them back for events in the future. But also, no runtime, which I was fun time as it is now, which I was a bit surprised by. So, and again, none of them were playing in events apart from, I believe, Zyro had left their lineup and had then rejoined with M&M. Yeah. And some others have just kind of not participated. So you're talking the likes of Zami, Beef, Troll, and Alamon and so on, Ariugon. A lot of these kind of players, again, were not participating whatsoever, to my knowledge, unless they were under some sort of different names. But there was a bit of a gap there for me, and I think something you did point out very key there, a big gap between 6th and 7th place. But I did kind of think that going into this event. I mean, you did have Numalops, which are always a very stacked lineup. You had THE Blue, which united Elementaries and the THE lineup. So you had, the dynamic duo almost of, besides us, of Dexter and Megorian. And, those kind of players were very, very dynamic in the matches they played together, yet still only managing to get 5th place. 4th place, of course, performing very well with B Genius, punching a little bit above their weight there, I think is fair to say, but they've had a relatively young lineup, which is really kind of starting to reap its rewards of the kind of faith that's been put in them. But, I mean, I expected the top 3 to be the top 3. You have No Limit Proxys, who you have, of course, a Proxys core, or at least a majority of the Proxys players, minus Novus, who's playing for Numalops. You have the Proxys core. You have players like McQuattro, solid Team Cup performer. You have players from the No Limit side of things. You have Flyer, again, years and years and years of experience as a solid player. And that's just picking out 2 members, the extremely strong lineup in 4 Wheels, and we are positive. I suppose the kind of mythical combo of, 2 surprises coming back into this event. I mean, it was talked about since both the teams were announced. Of course, 4 Wheels have the likes of, Karyan, Poker, Aceric, some of the short tech players that people have been noting recently, like Grit and Kerberos, Darkbringer, Chiller side, some real household names of the bygone era and even kind of now's side of things. And we are positive, which I think is unquestionably the best tech lineup has ever been seen. I don't think there's anything that even comes remotely close to it. I mean, you have every world champion, since, I don't know, fucking 2008, bar Haki Jr. and Bergie, that's something that you're never going to see again, I don't think, unless these guys play together. But, I mean, how did you feel seeing those 2 teams there? The one team of, the Dignitas core and friends, so to speak, and the other being, a lot of players that people had kind of been asking, where have these people been the past, 5-6 years and so on?
Yeah, I mean, now it's more the Trackmania Grand League players playing with in a team. I mean, this is it's still nice to see that they are friends, regardless if they are beating themselves in competitions or not. And I think this is really unique for Trackmania as an esports, that all the people who are in top are friends with each other. Of course, there's a little bit of rivalry to like do a friendly band to, okay, I won against you in the 2v2 or something like that he's first and he's second or third. They're making a nice joke, but dude, this team is overpowered, really. It's overpowered. Not sure if it's overkill, because you named it with No Limit Proxys and also 4 Wheels, that we have 2 very strong contenders there by only losing 1 match against We Are Positive, and I think between them it was a draw. But I unfortunately couldn't watch that match between both of those teams. But I mean, we on the one hand we have those TMGL players / Dignitas and friends, and then we have the fallen soldiers, like a legend who won a World Cup, or who's the arguably one of the best tech players who has touched the game, picks up his Time Attack friends on a Trackmania server where 4 or 5 people are on, and if you're going on that server, you are leaving it again as a normie person because you think, why are they hunting this track for 2 hours? Stuff like that happens there. I don't know, but it's cool to see that Time Attack players start playing rounds, and I think that they really underperformed against We Are Positive, that they could have done better, because 6-0 is definitely not a loss that is deserved. Just looking into the standing, I mean, they're still second, but only with 1 point of a difference. And I hope that they can, or that they're trying to take revenge in the actual playoff phase, where they could meet in a final or in the consolidation final or something like that. I really hope that this will happen. Let me actually check, how's the playoff working. Is it? No, it's quarterfinal. And then We Are Positive and Four Wheels are in the semi-final already. Okay, I see. And then they can only meet in the grand final, of course. So they are third and fourth guaranteed. And then 3, so B Genius is playing against THE Blue, and then No Limit is playing against Nibbelops. And the winner of those play against Four Wheels or We Are Positive, and then there will be the final. But I think that the final will be either We Are Positive. So We Are Positive will be in the final, but the important match will be the semifinal between No Limit, Proxys, and Four Wheels. And I hope that they put in the effort to make something happen, to have an exciting match there. I really hope that because this could be match of the year if we see a nice match there, if they're motivated. I mean, they are the favorite. They're the clear favorite. As you have said it is safe to say that this is the best tech lineup we have ever seen. But still, they are beatable. They didn't win every round or every sub match.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. But one thing that kind of irks me a little bit about having a lineup like this, especially coming into a tournament like this, is one word I think you used there, which I would use as overpowered in a sense. Now, far be it from me to go in and break up people's lineups, or you can't have this, or you can't have that, but I kind of liken it almost to the situation we had with either the previous or current iteration of my project, of Team I Care / We All Care. That's what I expected it to be with this lineup. That We Are Positive would come in, they'd know the maps to an extent where they would, again, enough to not disrespect their opponents, but they wouldn't be going into this just to win. I didn't expect that winning this would really mean anything to them. These are guys who have it all in Trackmania. These are guys that are getting paid thousands, a month to play Trackmania and Trackmania Grand League. I didn't expect this would matter to them. But I guess either it's kind of, they've came back, they've had a little bit of a likeness, they've not played these kind of tech tournaments in a while. Or, I mean, it's just simply been ego, that they've came back and they don't want to lose. It's they're players who have throughout the years have never liked losing. So I can certainly imagine that kind of way. But they are teams who have only trained, it seems, as much for each match as to how much they needed to beat the opponent. They didn't train to their potential. They trained to how much it would be for them to beat, say, Zero White. And, if they had an easy match day, they would train for an easy match day. If they had a difficult match day, they would train more. If they had a match against Four Wheels, they would train more. Against Numalog,
you have seen that actually.
You have seen that. You've definitely seen a step up when it's came to the the level of team of which they're playing against. Now, there's kind of two arguments or two kind of camps, I would say, for my kind of pool of thought thinking about We Are Positive. First of all, I think it's really nice to seeing this quality of players back in these sort of tournaments. Since the kind of PKD lineup stopped sponsoring Kappa, we stopped seeing him in team tournaments. Since Sampe stopped being involved, that was, again, Kappa's departure. That was Tween's departure. Since the expert lineup stopped being played, that was Massa, Spam, Carl Jr., Pack. That's all of them gone from team tournaments. And it really takes the ceiling for what the potential was on these kind of tracks, on these kind of matches. It really brought it down quite a bit because the level of quality, had came down. That was just the way it was. You weren't going to find this level of players anywhere else. I mean, of course, you drag back Four Wheels. Four Wheels, a lineup which I did think was quite overhyped going into this. I mean, we talk about the name value of these players. We talk about the name value of Carrion, of Poker, and things like that. But these are players who haven't played competitive Trackmania outside of hunting competitions. Carrion's case, before both of them, Carrion and Poker's case, before 2016, if I'm correct. That's a long time to not be playing this game. So I expected that one of the regular teams, shall we say, Numalops, No Limit Proxys, would be taking it, because I thought the We Are Positive guys wouldn't take it as seriously. But, again, I seem to have been wrong in that. But, sorry, the other side of what I was saying there, so as again, you do have the one camp where it's really nice to see all these guys back, raising the ceiling for the kind of matches that we do see in team tournaments. At the other side of things, I do see it as being overpowered and overkill. I do see it as being that, it reminds me back to the days of the Acer and Dignitas, where you had all of the talent consolidated in one or two teams. And outside of that, it just made it boring, It made it boring because you knew, unless those two teams were getting put together, you knew the result, It doesn't matter who they go up against, as long as they prepare accordingly, they're going to win. I mean, I'd love to see, a kind of a best of the rest kind of lineup, like, shall we say, I don't know, Dexter, Magorian, Novus,
yeah.
like, these all of these players from these. I don't know about that, but like all of these players coming from outside of this bubble, and then creating a third kind of super team to go against these two, then I would think I'd think it'd be significantly more interesting. But outside of this, I've not so much liked it because I felt like once you kind of knew the approach that the We Are Positive guys are going to take, they'll maybe tank like one sub match or something like that because we saw like Zero White managed to win the 1v1, with Otak against Pac.
Yeah, true.
But Otak was a very, very high level player. It is a very, very high level player. And I think that, We Are Positive didn't really respect his talent a lot, so to speak. So, but fair enough, he gets a well-deserved point there. But the way I look at it is, I think it leaves a bit of a bitter taste to the Premier League for me, It leaves a bit of a bitter taste when you kind of know which team is going to win, But do you think that it's as open and shut as I'm saying it, kind of?
I mean, Beck is saying you should see our lineup for the finals. Oof.
Yeah.
I mean, does not mean I'm not sure what that means, if it's good or bad. But yeah, it would be. I mean, with that, the thing is already decided. It's like Spain from 2008 to 2012; they were unbeatable in football. And seeing all those players like opening up a new team, let's say Peck goes to Eminem, just as an example, and then we have the old expert squad. Of course, it's still overpowered. And yeah, I mean, I don't really see a solution for that because, I mean, they can do whatever they like. I really find it cool that they're playing in a team because they're all friends. But with that, the tournament is already decided a bit. But maybe people take it as a competition to say, okay, if there will be another We Are Positive, then we have players that you've mentioned, like Novus, Dexter, Mi4, and all the fast tech players playing together and just try to compete against them. But of course, then the remainder of the tournament will also struggle with that. If you take good players out of the best teams, then the best teams will definitely get worse, and then we have only two teams playing there. So yeah. It's a weird decision because everyone can open up their own team, and maybe people try to get more motivated to actually beat those players when they're seeing, okay, we are playing against We Are Positive. I mean, that's what Otak was doing. He has beaten Peck on the 1v1, regardless if Peck was trained or not. He did a very, very good play, or he pulled off a very good performance. And on the other hand, I was talking to Amaterasu, who was playing for Team Shift. They were not very encouraged of playing against We Are Positive. I think the respect is a little bit too high against them, that they should just try because they are beatable. They lost 4 points. I mean, of course, 4 points is not a lot. It's less than 10%. But still, they are beatable, and teams should try and see where their maximum is. Maybe that's a good thing to do, but I would not split up this team, probably, because it's hard to... I mean, Expert is not there. They need to form a new squad. And then we also have Sampi not being there, or Esuba, however you want to call them. And then also, of course, Pack is also right now in M&M. He could join it there, but yeah, why not play with your friends and enjoy it? Because I think we're choosing this team because they enjoy playing and talking and having some fun, and I think that's why they have opened it. And I think that's a fair point, despite it's a clear competition. Yeah.
For sure. And I think it's only natural. I mean, I can appreciate that, having come from essentially the same background with my own project. I formed a team with the people I was around most of the time, and having them, playing along with me and having a good time. I can definitely appreciate that. But I mean, the way I look at it, I understand some people kind of disagree with it in a little bit. But I mean, the way I see it personally is there is no way We Are Positive should not be winning the tournament. I mean, the We Are Positive players are a level above those that are outside this bubble. But there's a different way you can look at this, right? One which you did mention there, which I think is also very important, and it's something again that I can speak from experience when it comes to things like Trackmania Pro League. Now, this is a very unique opportunity for these other teams. Now, and if We Are Positive, or even I suppose Four Wheels to another extent here, if they prepare to an extent where they are. I suppose if they are well prepared, shall we say, if they've taken some world records on some tracks and they're able to be consistent, there isn't another team out there that can beat them. It's as simple as that. The depth. I mean, you have singular members from other teams who can challenge. Like you have Novus who could challenge from Numalops. You have maybe Flyer who could take one or two people. You have Magorian or Dexter who might be able to take one or two people. But the depth and quality in We Are Positive, and I suppose to a lesser extent Four Wheels, is far too deep for these teams to combat against. It's just far too deep. It's as simple as that. Now,
I'm not even sure if sorry to interrupt you there, but I think that Four Wheels against No Limit Proxys, I think they're actually on an even side. So I think that Four Wheels, I mean, you said that they're a bit overrated. I mean, of course, We Are Positive practice more, I would say. I cannot say that. Maybe they can just cope the pressure more, but they practice more for that match, and Four Wheels couldn't keep up with their pace. So, and I think No Limits is definitely a team that could also meet We Are Positive in the finals. That's just that's my opinion actually about that. But hey, I
definitely think Four Wheels is the easier of that semi-final. I mean, of the semi-final brackets. But the way I see this is, as I was saying, I think this is a spectacular and unique opportunity for players who are out, who have not played against these these sort of players before. Now, I can speak for having participated in Trackmania Pro League seasons 1, 2, and 3, having played against much of these players. I've played against Pac, played against Spam, played against Carl Jr., Kappa, Tween, all of these sort of players. Yeah, all of these kind of players. There is nothing that helps you. Play better than playing against the best players. There is nothing that will make you feel better than playing well against the best players. Now, this is a very unique opportunity, and there's always a possibility. I think it's always one of these things that you never truly know how it's going to happen because you don't know in what condition both teams are going to show up. You don't know if teams are going to be missing players. You don't know if teams are going to have their key players trained, which is always a bit of a difficult thing for Trackmania. It's not like Counter-Strike where you have a relative known quantity in these lineups. These lineups chop and change all the time. Different players play different tracks. And I'd say propping up as a storyline and saying We Are Positive is unbeatable. I think We Are Positive are unbeatable. However, the only people who can really beat We Are Positive are themselves. And to reiterate what I'm saying there, the only way We Are Positive are going to lose is if they don't prepare as much to defeat their opponents. Hence what I was saying earlier. If they prepared well, they were going to beat their opponents. It was as simple as that. We
have seen it, yeah.
So, one thing I'm very interested to, though, to kind of round up or kind of talk on the CPS playoffs discussion, which, just a reminder to you folks, is coming up this Sunday, I believe. Check out numerous different Twitch channels that I'm sure will be announced. The quarterfinal matches are actually going to be very, very interesting. So, for those who do not have it in front of them, your quarterfinal match will be B-Genius versus THE Blue, which winner will face We Are Positive. On the other side of things, you have No Limit Proxys and Numalops Tech which winner will face Four Wheels. Now, for me, these are very, very interesting quarterfinal.
Yeah.
You have, B Genius by name throughout recently have been a very, very good team, but it's only within the past few tournaments that they've really kind of cracked that top echelon, I feel like. They've got a lineup which is growing in its depth and in its quality, kind of tournament after tournament. So I can definitely respect the development that's went into B Genius so far. And I think they've got a chance. I definitely think they've got a good chance to beat THE Blue. However, on the THE Blue side, I think that's what a lot of in the recent tournaments, it's been Numalops, it's been Prox. That's been your two main teams. You look back a little bit more, maybe you can chuck Fun Time or Ubi Team in there. But it's normally been Numalops and Prox. However, I think the THE Blue, having kind of married in the Elementaries lineup to theirs, having the likes of Tom, Zloty, and Magorian coming into the lineup, joining up with some already extremely talented Trackmania players. You, of course, have Piranha, Eddie, Dexter, and Sky, and so on. I think that's a very, very high quality lineup, and I would say gets the edge at least on paper in that kind of quarterfinal. And on the other side of things, Numalops and No Limit Proxes. You have a Numalops lineup which has always been very strong. You have Mathix, Wag, Zykos, which, the kind of Dutch trio of extremely, extremely quick players, bringing a kind of all-rounded game within the past kind of year or so. Also adding Novus to that lineup there. Novus, who only earlier on in the year managed to get 4th position in from 0 to hero, which was an extremely great result for him. And also on the other side of things, you have No Limit Proxes, of course, which the full lineup escapes me, but of course you do have the No Limit lineup. A lot of them from the likes of Link. I've actually got it in front of me now. So you had Link, Miquatro, let me see, Sebi, Zarox, and that seemed to be it from the No Limit side of things. But also, you now add to that lineup essentially the best from No Limit. You have Feed playing, I believe, as a guest player, but you also have Panda, Nod, Jussie, and Flyer coming into that lineup. Players that either are extremely quick or players that are, Flyer and so on, that are extremely experienced and do bring a great deal of quality to that. Do you see any kind of clear favourites in either of these quarterfinals at all?
I think again, it's the team that goes in with the right attitude to that. I think for the first quarterfinal, I think you can say more about the lineup because you are more in the tech scene. Of course, I know the players, but I hardly know if they're now consistent or if they like this or what they are best on, or if they can cope pressure. I've casted a lot of tech competitions this year, but this was my first real full year of let's say full Trackmania that I have a cast every second week at least, something like that. So I cannot tell a lot about it, but what I can tell, I think Dexter really put this one into perspective really well. They have to decide who's going to get destroyed by We Are Positive, and I think that's a really, really wrong approach to that, because you're practicing to encourage yourself to say, okay, we've beaten, let's say B Genius beats THE or something like that, or the bottom seeded team beats the other team, and they go with momentum in there. They're showing, we have the confidence, we can potentially win. We know that the players from We Are Positive can be or are the fastest players out there, but they can be beaten. They can be beaten, and I think mindset is a really important factor here when it comes to the quarterfinals and also to the semifinals. I hope that both teams don't forfeit because they're seeing, okay, we are positive in the semifinal. And for the second match, No Limit looked very strong. Just looking at the standings, they are third, of course, only 1 point short from Four Wheels. So they are probably a little bit discouraged that they are not in the spot that Four Wheels is in right now. But also Numalops. I think Numalops has a very scary lineup, despite their being sixth. But also, when they practice a lot, they can beat No Limit. I think everything is possible here, either way. Maybe that's just my opinion about it, but it's all about the mindset and how people and how the leader will actually like develop or leads the team to say, oh, come on, we got this, encourage them. Well, but this could be only my opinion about that. But what do you think about that? Do you think the same, that every team can beat each other here, or is it just me?
I think, I mean, there's a few matchups which I don't really imagine. I don't really imagine there being that much between, you know, like the No Limit and the Numerlops. I don't really imagine there being much between those, you know. I could easily see a few tennis mode matches here. But yeah, it's I think all's to play for, but yeah, it does count into the approach. You know, if you go into a match, be it your quarterfinal or, you know, if you're looking down the line at your semi-final and you're already giving up, then that half the battle's already been won by your opponent, you know. I remember back in the days in A&E, I mean, when, as it was back then, Dignitas, Expert, and or Expert Black and Expert were on a tournament run where they essentially went unbeaten for a good few tournaments. I remember A&E was one of the first teams, along with Planet Key Dynamics, fucking A&E of all teams, that nearly ended up beating them in a match. Of course, you know, as again, it you know, maybe not as prepared of an Expert lineup, but we went into it with the right approach. You know, we went into it thinking we could do it, and we very nearly did. Went down to a 5v5, I think, which finished 7-5 or something like that. But following that, seeing the difference from the team, as I was leading the team at the time, seeing the difference from the team having the belief in themselves that they could beat, you know, Expert in that case, facing up against them, I think the next time was a year later, and the team didn't have that kind of same spirit anymore. It didn't have that we can do this. It didn't have that fire. And you see the level they played against, I think it was in a TMM quarterfinal, where they got utterly obliterated by Expert because they went into it thinking they were going to lose, and sure enough they did. So I think the mental game is very important here, and it'll be interesting to see what all the teams bring to the table.
Yeah, I mean, we will see this weekend. I think Geek is casting it because he was involved in a lot of casting and he's providing a good cast. Maybe I think also POV will be allowed. I'm not sure about that, but it will be cool. I will also watch it. I'm not sure if I have time because I have also other casts. I have the New Harry Challenge Cup that will be cast, so one of the shit cups that Revolution will actually play, because I've seen some Twitter clips from him doing a WR. But hey, we should maybe go to a different topic. I think we have a lot to talk about that next week on it. Yep. And I think one thing that I want to do from my side here is the Cannonball Run, which was a competition which you initially wanted to play as well, or you were interested in. So who doesn't know this competition? It's a mixed style map, which is like, I would say, for a first finish, 50 minutes in length, and the WR has been pushed down to sub 11 minutes, something like that. So players like Bren, and then also Dog. I just name a few here: Bren, Dog, Marius, the Mime. Those players have played it and they've battled it out there in the seeding, first of all, to qualify themselves to the actual playoffs. And there we had 41 people participating. And guys, why didn't I ask you guys a question? Why didn't take the playoffs place this Sunday? Is it A, the net code? Is it B, because the players didn't show up? Or is it C? Guys, I think you already know the answer, right? So we had server issues again, unfortunately, because it's a very good tournament, and it's definitely something that needs to be fixed as soon as possible. It was planned to be played in a knockout format, but it couldn't take place. But it's so sad to see, because it's a unique competition again that we were talking about beforehand as well. And it just couldn't take place. And that's really sad to see. And I hope that it will be fixed next weekend.
Yeah, just seeing a message there from Phoebe coming in that as far as she knows, again, we can't take this, fully 100% true, in the sense that it's, as Phoebe says, as far as she knows, so not for sure, that the issue was perhaps not with the server, but with the server controller knockout script not holding. So that's definitely very interesting information. But one thing I would say is concerning about this, right? Now, this isn't necessarily down to Nadeo or down to the server controllers, whoever's developing these, or down to whoever's developing these scripts. But I would say as a combined kind of comment, so to speak, on what stage we're at the moment. I would say it's concerning that we haven't yet. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is a very demanding ask, so to speak, having such a massively long map, having, a lot of players on these maps at the same time. I can understand it represents maybe more unique challenges rather than what Trackmania is typically used to handling. We did see some issues, for example, when we tried hosting the 24-hour races and so on, even the test editions of it. We did also see issues, with the old 4 Styles Cup and so on. But the thing is, it does concern me when we're reaching nearly the end of 2020 and we still have a game which is having issues I say a game. We still have issues. I won't necessarily put it down straight to just as I said, Trackmania. But I do find it concerning that we've not yet reached a point where people can comfortably host tournaments without having to worry about this, where something's not holding up. Either there's some netcode issues, either there's some issues with people trying to spectate, there's issues with some scripts working, there's issues with server controllers properly working. It's not necessarily individually massive problems, but it's a collection of small problems which I think are very concerning to some tournament organisers out there. And at least from the early stages of Trackmania being released, being fully released rather, a lot of tournament organisers were thinking that they were going to hold back a little bit. Can I get a lay of the land of how Trackmania was actually working before they'd go and plough their efforts into actually hosting a tournament on it? And I think I can only imagine that some people are maybe hesitating a little bit here because they're seeing things like Cannonball Run not working out, be it whoever's fault or whatever's fault it was. We're still seeing things not working to a point where events are either not able to run at full capacity or not able to run at all.
Yeah, and that's a point that is actually a bit scary for new event organizers or for unique events, because I mean, Pizzle is new to the scene, and it's his first event that he was organized, and he was so discouraged by that. He was so sad about this, but something like that should not happen, and I'm not sure what caused it. It doesn't matter now. I think we've talked about this topic too many times, what flaws are still in the game. We're seeing that they are trying to improve things. We're seeing that. We're clearly seeing that with all the things that have been fixed. So that's a cool thing. And let's just go to the next topic, I think, because I just wanted to mention that because it's a cool format, and unfortunately it couldn't take place because it's also something that should be covered here. And the second thing we want to talk about here, the second bigger topic is the community efforts for things like, let's say, TM News or Trackmania Awards, or also other things, let's say event organizing, or just let's say what we were doing the last couple of months by covering the Trackmania Grand League.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It was something I wanted to talk about. Well, maybe not even certain as much, talk about or argue or kind of discuss kind of thing, but just to necessarily highlight a lot of the efforts which are being made by the community within the past year or so, within Trackmania's development time or Trackmania's released time. We are, speaking of time, short on time at the moment, so apologies if this is a little bit of a short one, but we'll definitely get back to it at least some other episodes, not to worry. But
I still have some time, so
sure,
we can still talk a bit.
But the main things, of course, I wanted to highlight were some major efforts being made by members of the community, highlighting, of course, TM News' great work in the sense of keeping everyone up to date of not only kind of events that were happening in Trackmania, but also providing a little bit of a hub, so to speak, for players looking for a team, for teams looking for players, for people just wanting to keep up to date of who's going where, what transfers are happening, what people are going from team to team and so on. And, as I said, providing a little bit of an update forum as to main events and also smaller events and community announcements and things like that. Also now bringing up their own community news page, which has been released in coordination with Trackmania Exchange, which does have its own writing team, which will hopefully be formulating some articles, giving people an idea of, a better overview of what's happening in Trackmania, maybe some, educated outlooks on what specifically is happening in the scene, and, giving people food for thought. I am on the writing team, but unfortunately it doesn't look like I'll have a lot of time to be as part of an creation of articles as I initially wanted to. But, I mean, talking about some other efforts, for example, another big one that I'm part of is ESAC. Electronic Sports Arena Challengers, of course, looking to bring back, a lot of different projects. Of course, one that we've announced only 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago it was, with the competitive open map pool, looking to kind of open up more opportunities for the community and what kind of events they would be able to host and how they would be able to host it, also through the functionality that's available through the website, essentially providing Trackmania's version of tournament, so to speak. Tournament being the online kind of tournament hosting, I wouldn't really say software, but you know what I mean, structure, shall I say. But, I mean, is there any others that have kind of stood out to you? I mean, I've mostly just kind of picked out the ones I've had some sort of involvement. I mean, we could also bring up, for example, the race at folks trying to revive the kind of matchmaking efforts in Trackmania. Is there any other sort of community efforts that have really stood out to you, either in a good way that you've really noticed them, or in a bad way that you've kind of missed them from previous years or anything like that?
So, I mean, I think you've mentioned the most important source for like most of the players to see what's going on, the Trackmania News Discord, or just the Trackmania News Hub, as you've mentioned it. I think it's very important to have something like that, to have a place where everything is in one Discord, which is very unique for Trackmania, because we have 1 million Discords for everything. But I think it's very good to have something like that. But also, on the other hand, I think just server hosting, that we have, let's say John, who's providing for most of the bigger events, hosting service, and then also I think Tycoons, of organizing a lot of events in the background and also providing service. I think there was one event, I'm not sure, but I casted it, and it was such a clown fiesta with the maps. And then Tycoons was like, okay, we're just gonna play on our service, and they've also like carried this event through, which is really cool to see. So also like providing service to the community. So that's something that also sticks out to my mind, that we have this kind of community work. And then of course also Eric, providing news on Twitter, even though it's a little bit exaggerated sometimes, that he's posting everything, but that's what news are about, so it's really cool to see this work as well. And I mean, I'm right now thinking what is lacking, maybe like in news flash, but that's what we're doing in this podcast here, kind of to cover what is happening each week. You could do an informative video about that, to say, okay, this was going on this day, and who this guy won it, and they can watch it and give like a forecast to the future, what is happening there. And well, I think what is happening is like a real spreadsheet to see what is really happening, and that also people can like inscribe to that. I mean, we have that with the Trackmania Flash, but I think it's a little bit, I don't know. It's not fitting for me that much, because then you click on it on the weekly proc, you see that. But I don't know. I think this should be done better, and also like to see, you have to see on Sunday what event is on Monday or Tuesday or next week. So maybe we should create something where people can take in, okay, I want to organize an event there and there. And then also it comes from a reliable source that people can plan better, and so that the tournaments are not correlating. So stuff like that is missing. But I mean, that's just like a vision of mine. And it's of course easier said than done.
For sure, yeah. I mean, if I could talk about one of the things that I've really kind of been missing so far throughout this year, and I'd very much like to see this year, although there is kind of some little talks about it, isn't the awards show. The award show, of course, was run by Eric Holdall and, in some lesser extent, the Huntmania team throughout the last few years, around about the Christmas time, giving awards for, X of the year, so to speak, in terms of tech player of the year, caster, streamer, map, content creator, and so on. And I really feel that there was a lot of frustration happening within the last 2 years of hosting it, as I was intimately involved with that as well, in the sense that I believe Eric was quite unhappy with, having a lot of people involved in the project and only a small amount of people doing the work. So he's opted to kind of go off on his own venture and simply do his awards for the year. So not necessarily opening up to public voting, just simply giving his thoughts on who he thinks is most deserving for whatever awards of the year he's choosing. I believe he's only choosing the awards of which he feels like he does have a bit more of an educated output on. So not things like, I don't know, Canyon Player of the Year, where he wouldn't have an idea of that, or Content Creator of the Year, in terms of how he stipulated it before. But I mean, I think that it is something that's going to go a little bit missed in terms of how the kind of community kind of came around these sort of awards and things like that. You had, of course, an open vote coming in from the community, so you could vote for then who you thought was most deserving, or simply who you liked the most, as it seemed to be. Just a little salty shot there. But yeah, I mean, it was something that the community engaged in, which I felt was most important. They engaged in both the awards themselves and the media that surrounded it, which was a very positive part of the Trackmania kind of Christmas calendar, so to speak. But how are you feeling kind of about the award situation? I mean, I can certainly imagine you'd at least be nominated for at least one of them this year.
Maybe. I mean, that was kind of my goal this year, to get nominated. That sounds a bit cocky, but I was a bit discouraged for not even get mentioned last year to be a nominee for the Caster of the Year category, because I really put in a lot of effort. And yeah, I mean, that's the first part. You should really have experts when it comes to that, and then just not people who, let's say, for Caster of the Year, also have to watch next to the how do you say that? There's like a speech for that. But you just don't have to follow just one streamer or one person to see who is doing what work. I mean, when I'm covering an event, let's say the French regionals, I had 7 viewers there, but my clip went viral, the one where I covered the last round, because I mean, you cannot cover everything, and this is a very hard thing. And that's why I'm not sad that I didn't get nominated, but I was like, okay, I want to get more visible for this year's casting scene, and it's hard to get an objective quote for just saying streamer of the year, caster of the year, content creator. It's really biased. You cannot tell that, and it's really hard to really measure that, because people would think that you are the best caster, that I'm the best caster, that Geek is the best caster, and no one is wrong with that. It's a subjective think-wise, and that's what makes those awards, kind of hard to determine, I think. And that's why it's completely planned that everyone is nominated for stuff like that. And by just having Eric as the one of the midpoints of Trackmania, the news source of Trackmania, doing this kind of thing for the categories where he is most into, I think it's a good thing. But of course, this one is very subjective, because maybe he didn't know that a player like Otak, let's just say him, the player who has beaten Peck, played a lot of other small tech competitions that he has not heard of. Could happen. Story of the year. Maybe he has missed a story or something like that. Streamer of the year. I mean, there's also Hello Mark from Germany, let's just say it like that, who really did a lot of streams in the last couple of months. Not saying that he's the streamer of the year, but you cannot cover everything as one person and also as a group. It's almost impossible, and everyone will have a different point of view. So it's, of course, not as, it's still prestigious, but it's only from Eric's point of view. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's always going to be difficult to kind of establish, when a lot of these kind of categories are very, very subjective,
Yeah.
I remember getting my PMs lit up by someone telling me that a certain skin should be part of the skin of the year nominations, and I'm like, that's not how this works, but okay. But yeah, I mean, you do get people like that, I suppose. But with the award show, I think Eric's awards are going to fill some sort of hole there. I'm interested to see if TM News does have some sort of project going. I've certainly not been made part of it, if that is the case. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what kind of projects await us for Christmas period of time, and no doubt we'll see within the next few weeks, and we'll definitely keep everyone in the podcast up to date. Either that, fuck it, we'll just make our own award show. Just the last week of the year, we'll just, we'll take it away and fill all the gaps. But yeah, I mean, I can say it is something I've missed, and I hope at least comes to some sort of extent throughout the end of this year.
I mean, it's coming with Eric doing it, but it's just a very, very reduced version of the Trackmania Awards 2019. That was, I think, also at the beginning of 2020, if I recall it correctly. I'm not sure when it was. I knew that Geek was hosting it, but not sure when it was actually. And I think Riolu won a lot of stuff there. And I mean, this could definitely happen this year as well, that a lot of people could take home one prize. But there are less categories this time around, of course. And maybe that's why people won't be as interested into that. Let's say the Kenyan players won't be that interested to see who's Kenyan player, because there's no category for that. So I don't know. And in general, the Trackmania community feels more split up than ever with the new game, because it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, or is it just my feeling? Does the Trackmania community feel a little bit more split or not?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. I feel like a lot of people are playing the game currently. It just, for me, it feels that at the moment, it's not necessarily that it's split up. It's that everyone who isn't currently playing has just been left behind, So I think that it's not necessarily like Trackmania 2 Stadium, where you had another community for Canyon or another community for TMNF or something like that. It just feels like a lot of people have then kind of put their weight behind this Trackmania, and it feels like everyone else, as I said, has just been left behind.
Yeah, I actually had a weird dream tonight.
Is that one you can tell us about?
Yes, I had a weird dream. I was dreaming that a new Trackmania is coming out, actually. New game. I don't know why the fuck I was dreaming that. I didn't even play Trackmania. Oh, did I? Yeah, I played Cup of the Day. Okay, but that's it. I had a dream that I was pissed that a new Trackmania comes out and the community is split again. I have no idea why I had that dream, but that really killed my mood in my dream. So I was afraid that the new Trackmania comes out. So hopefully this won't occur, because then I will definitely get mad. But that just, I don't know why I come up with that, but hey,
love it.
That's it. It is what it is. Nice fun facts here and there.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, on the subject of dreams, I think that is us pretty much good to go for tonight. I mean, it's nearly Turbo's bedtime, unfortunately. He's a busy man now, got his class, got his university and all that. But nevertheless, we will be back next week Tuesday at when? 8 p.m.
Or
same
7.
time. Well, or 7 my time. I say 8 p.m. I'm all for you guys. I'm European at heart, I swear. Don't let Brexit take me away from you. I'm still there. But anyway, guys, it has been a pleasure once again. We will await your pleasure next week. We will be here for you guys and see what we'll talk about. Maybe get a bit more about the
CPS.
community, CPS playoffs and everything like that. But as always, any suggestions, any requests that you believe, topics that would be fit to talk about, just let us know. Either DM either one of us contact us through any sort of the mediums that are available on your screen. And Phoebe is demanding a flash of your Mickey Mouse. That's good. That's all she's demanding a flash of. But anyway, everyone, I will also remind you just before we head off that this podcast has once again been brought to you by ESAC, and big thanks to the man behind the screen, Erwin Weber. And a reminder to get yourself involved in the competitive open map pool project, either if you want to join in a testing capacity, you hit my DMs up like right now, or get your maps involved. I want to see all the sort of creations people have in mind for the next wave of competitive tech. But that is it from me. That is it from my fellow Mickey Mouse man over here to my left or right. It will be good night from me and Turbo, and we will see you next time.
Goodbye.